Hey, hmm, hey, well, there's a lot of you now. Wasn't quite expecting to get to 15K this fast or this quickly, but I gotta say, I just want to say thank you. And as like a way to say things, I thought I would let you all ask me some questions because I'm sure there's a lot of questions that you all have. Hopefully there were quite a few, that you might not know or haven't seen or heard before, depending on if you have been a longtime fan who has been around for the past 2 years, or if you're new and more recently have found this page specifically. Hi, my name's Kat, and I'm here to answer your questions. My questions are, do you have any allergies? Do you do the ASMR voice on purpose? Yes, I'm allergic to nuts and peanuts. Fun little joke is that, hey, you know how I knew I was a trans lesbian this entire time? I was allergic to nuts. So there's that. Also, the ASMR voice, I slip in and out of it sometimes. It depends on like what's going on. Sometimes I do it on purpose. Sometimes I just do it. And the most of the times I'm slipping in and out of it is like whenever I'm talking to my cats. A lot of the times whenever I'm talking to my cats, I use that voice, especially with their middle cat, Yasha, because she has really bad anxiety and she likes to hang out with me. And yes, doing it on purpose sometimes because I know the AoE effect and I know how much it causes people to like to stop talking for a little bit and to get flustered, which is good because I can use it as a panic button to get out of me being flustered. I can turn the tables real fast. Do you prefer coffee or tea, and why? Coffee. Well, actually, I really enjoy both, but I drink coffee more just because of the taste. I've also been drinking coffee since I was a kid, and that comes from the fact that my grandmother and my great-grandmother, they would always like give us coffee in the morning, loaded with sugar. So coffee, yeah. No, thank you for making such great videos. And my question is, do you do art? If so, what kind? Well, yes, I do art. Mainly, I do photography. That's like my main medium of art that I do. Also, I guess technically YouTube as well. Streaming and making videos and acting of all kinds of sorts. But I have been getting back into drawing and I don't think I've got a style at all, period. Still trying to figure that all stuff out. Currently, right now, 2 days of the week of my subathon that I'm working on, I am doing an art lock. And if you don't know what that is, it is a Pokemon Nuzlocke where every Pokemon that I catch, I have to draw. And if you don't know what Nuzlocke is, long story short, hardcore Pokemon that is a little bit more challenging and all the rules are self-imposed. So main ones being, I can only catch one Pokemon per route, and that's the first Pokemon that I encounter. If a Pokemon faints, it is dead. And if I wipe out during a fight, run ends there. That is it. So I have to start again. What are some of my favorite movies? Well, I would say some of my favorite movies are, I really like the movie 9. This movie was super good and kind of really underrated, unless you were like in the know, and also the Hot Topic. If you went to Hot Topic a lot, then you know about this movie, but I didn't see a whole lot of promotion for it, and I don't think it got off the ground as much because there was another movie called 9 that came out the same year that got a lot more attention, which is fine. Honestly, I love having my little gems that I can keep to myself and like really enjoy and watch. But if you haven't seen this movie before, I highly suggest that you go watch it. It is really good. And honestly, I just like stop motion a lot as like a medium because like I really enjoy Paranorman as well. That's such a good movie. Oh my God. I didn't know like how much I would really enjoy that movie until like I think it was shown on Nickelodeon and I finally watched it. It was so good. I'm trying to think if there's anything else like that would be even remotely important. I think those are the two big ones. Let's go with those two. Paranorman and 9, I would say, are probably two of my favorite movies that I really enjoy because I really love the medium of stop motion. Also, just 3D animation is just so good. What's your favorite romance or even your favorite ship? This is a tough question because like most of the people that I ship end up in relationships. So I might have to just go with Catra and Adora. I think just mostly because I really love the dynamic that we get with them between the friends to enemies to lovers story that they have. And also just like, God, Catra. Oh my God, I love Catra so much. Such a mood. I love her. With your coffee, do you use sugar and/or creamer? If so, what kind? I actually use oatmeal creamer, specifically a coffee cake creamer that is by, I think it's Planet Oat. But also I use honey in my coffee as well. So I put a little bit of honey in there. I put some the coffee cake creamer, and that is it. So that is my coffee. Do you have any pets? If so, what kind? Also goes with my question is, how is your cat and how did the little cutie get into your home? I know this is actually 2 questions, but cat. So yeah, actually I have 3 cats. I have our oldest cat, Toshiko, our middle cat, Yasha, and then our youngest cat, Java. Yasha and Java, we kind of just adopted. We got Yasha from Craigslist before the pandemic hit back in Missouri, and then we got Java here in Massachusetts from a animal shelter. Tosh, however, who has been with me for 13 years and has been with me through a lot of me moving and relationships and a couple job changes, I saved her from my parents' backyard. That's what I usually say. And the story of that is there was one night when my mom let out our dachshunds and they were yapping at the tree line that is behind my parents' house. And I was sent out there to go see what it was because I could easily hop the fence. So I did. And I had my phone and I used the flashlight to try and see if I could find anything out there. And I couldn't spot anything. I could hear some rustling, but nothing that was like a little too out of it. So I turned around to go back and I started hearing some mewing. And I turned back around to see this tiny little fur ball of a kitten crying coming out of the forest line. And I turned back to her and put my hand out to try to get her attention, be like, hey, yeah, come here. Come here. And at first she saw me, turned around, ran away. I was like, okay, well, that's fine. And then not even like 10 seconds later, I heard a scream and more rustling. And I turned back around to see her running out of the forest towards me. And I didn't even think. I just ran towards her, scooped her up, and then immediately took her inside. And inside, I checked her for burrs, fully cleaned her off, dried her off, and then I threw her onto my bed. And my parents were like, what the hell is that? I was like, I have a new cat. I'm claiming this cat. This cat is mine. And my parents like, well, you gotta name her. And so her name's Toshiko. We call her Tosh or Kiki or Tokito. So I have friends who call her Tokito. But yeah, that is how Tosh got into my life. And she's been here ever since. It's to the point that I now call her my daughter. Actually, all 3 of my cats are my daughters. But yeah, my question, do you have a certain character or celebrity you looked up to that helped you realize you were trans? If so, who was it? Ooh, this is an interesting question. And it's kind of hard for me to pinpoint the character to being just one. I know when I was watching Little Witch Academia and BNA, I felt a really strong desire to be in a sapphic relationship, but I couldn't really explain why. And it came up again when I was watching She-Ra, Princesses of Power, because God, Catra was a vibe. So more recent cartoon and anime that had like queer representation and relationships during the pandemic made me do a lot of self-reflection, and is what cracked my egg. As for role models, since I've started transitioning, I don't really have any. The only one who I could say, and I've honestly looked up to this person for the longest time, was Hayley Williams. Like, quite literally, this is a woman who is all about like bubbly and joy and making sure you include others and that you help others out. And like, honestly, her issue of Cosmo is the only issue of Cosmo that I have ever owned, and only her interview is what I read in that magazine. So yeah. Question, opinions on axolotls? They're cute and adorable, and I love them. Let's go. Also, favorite cheese. Irish cheddar. 100% it's Irish cheddar. You could not get me to say that it's anything else. Irish cheddar is so good. Oh my God. I could eat an entire brick of that. Do you have a favorite individual fox? Whether it's a fox-coded character from a show or a wild fox you saw on the side of the road one summer evening. Ooh, I don't know if I have a favorite fox character, but honestly, I kind of really liked the Disney Robin Hood a whole lot. I liked both Robin Hood and Miriam. Also Nick Wilde. I also really like Nick from Zootopia. Honestly, amazing, fantastic characters. So those are probably my 3. Kind of all about the same. Nick Wilde, Robin Hood, and Miriam. Community question. Does anyone else get gender identity from Cat's avatar? Yes. I mean, yeah, I sometimes do. Are you kidding me? Look at her. Isn't she just amazing? Isn't she just cute? I love this model. I wish I could look more like her. But at the same time, for me, she is also a part of me. And every time that I look at her, I get a smile and just go, yeah, that's me. I kind of forget who I am sometimes. And I just see the model and I go, yeah, that's who I am. So yeah, I also get the gender identity. My question would be, I know, how are you incredibly cute and fun to listen to? Like, for real, I don't know how to really describe it, but I could listen to you for hours. You are amazing. How am I so? I'm not cute. No, you can't tell me that I'm cute. No. Illegal. Red flag on the field. can't do that. No. Timed out. Into the corner you go. Congratulations, Hatsune Miku or Kasane Teto. Teto? I don't know. I'm gonna go with Hatsune Miku because that I don't listen to the Vocaloids all that much. So yeah, unless I get like hear more from Kasane, I'm gonna go with Miku. I'm gonna go with Miku for now. No, like nothing against Teto. I just don't know them pretty much. What brand of fox are you? Ooh, actually, okay, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't really think about this all that much or all that hard, but on all honesty, I have to go with the red fox. That's whenever I was thinking fox, because I didn't think of like all the variations of foxes. I kind of just, yeah, I am just a red fox who is dyed purple. Yep. My question is, how does your wife not fall asleep to your voice when you talk? You're very relaxing to listen to. Well, you know what? I think I'll just let them respond.
Hello, I'm T. I have trouble sleeping in general, so that's mostly the answer. Unfortunately.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before, and yes, I do find my voice to be soothing and relaxing, but too anxious, much anxiety, too stressed. I gotta ask, what is your favorite CRPG series? The only one that I really have played has been Baldur's Gate, so I'm gonna cop out here and say Baldur's Gate 3. Do you have any advice for making friends while staying safe IRL? Yes, actually, always meet new friends in public spaces. Do not meet friends in areas that are private. Bad idea. Always. It's the same thing with dating. Always meet friends in public spaces. Go to a place like a game shop, or go to like a bar, a karaoke bar, go to like a restaurant, anywhere that is public, go there. As for like being able to find new friends, local game stores are great places. You can find, you can also go to like your local queer community spaces and find friends there. You can also go to there to like hang out with friends as well. So when trying to find new friends, that's the advice that I give. Always go to public spaces. Always go to your local queer community spaces as well, and you should be able to find people. It might take a little bit of time. I will say, whenever I was in my hometown back in Missouri, I used to go to karaoke on like a almost weekly basis and sang on a regular basis. And it was over the course of a couple of months before I finally made a couple friends from there. And then my friend like group spread. So yeah, public spaces, public areas, great place to go. What's your favorite D&D campaign you've been a part of? Ooh, this is a really good question. I'd have to say that my favorite D&D campaign that I've done was one that my friend had done. Kind of similar vibes to, if you've ever seen Brindley Mulligan's stuff, of just like modernish, but also kind of like mixed in with D&D settings. They had done something like that where we were working in a like superstore, kind of similar to like a Walmart or Target. And we had to go and fight a kind of battle royale stylish kind of thing to claim the land for our supermarket, and which by the way was called Murder Mart. And I had a lot of fun playing that just as a Furbolg monk who was Way of the Astral Arms, and it was a ton of fun. I played, her name was Ori, and the whole backstory for her was that she had just walked into said Murder Mart to just pick up a job. She just started working there without really applying because she wanted to get away from her secret life that she had, which was that she was a semi-professional wrestler. And that was how she activated her Way of the Astral Arms, was because the first way is like you pull down a mask or you put like some kind of like facade on to make yourself like to like produce the arms. And so she would put on a luchadora style kind of mask, and that was how she casted her arms. So that was a ton of fun. I really enjoyed that. Really should bring that character back at some point in time because God, she was fun to play. So yeah, any advice for a baby trans woman in her 30s who's curious about getting into D&D or TTRPGs more generally? I would love to have a regular time and place where I could socialize, practice my femme voice, and try out new clothes around people who wouldn't be judgmental. But I have no idea what kind of environment typical D&D group actually is, how to find people, or what I would need to get started. Also, are you, Alison Azera, and Yuko planning another D&D live stream anytime soon? Okay, so I'll go ahead and answer the second question first, and then I will answer the first question. And the second question, the answer simply is, I don't know, maybe. I do owe my chat a D&D one-shot, which I have already figured out what I'm going to do. I've already asked Alice and Yuko if they want to join, but we'll see. Maybe, unsure, but maybe. Tentative. Let's just say tentative. It's also if they want to like join as well. They said that they were interested, so I got to get that all scheduled and figured out, but that is kind of where it's at right now. So put a pin in that, figure it out later. As for getting into D&D and starting D&D and where to go and all this stuff, obviously the things that you need are you need dice, pen and paper, and that's mostly just it. A lot of the resources you can find online. I would stay away from D&D Beyond as much as I possibly could. If you want to buy books, the books that you really need, generally you want the player's handbook, mostly for reference of like how to build your character and not to like have the rules there, because rules are interpreted by the DM and then how the DM wants them. The thing that you will need most is if you're a spellcaster, in which case then you need to know what the spells do. But a lot of places have free resources that you can use to be able to play as said characters. A couple places that I would say that are great for finding groups are your local game stores. So if you are in an area that has a game store, usually game stores have a Pathfinder or a D&D Adventures Guild, and they will host campaigns that are already like written by either WotC or Paizo, and you can then participate in those. I feel like those are hit and miss sometimes when it comes to the people that are there, because like whenever I started transitioning and went to one of those, I was constantly being misgendered by a couple of the table mates, but the DMs there were extremely polite. They were really kind and very accepting. So I would go check out your local game store and kind of get the feel and the vibe there. Maybe talk to some of the clerks and see what they have to say. That would be your best vibe. As for when it comes to finding like people to play with, the thing comes down to is just find like a group of friends that you really enjoy spending time with and that you really mesh and vibe with, because that's going to be the best way to do it. The hardest thing about D&D isn't playing the game, it's finding a group consistently to play the game. Or finding a DM who is willing to DM the game. And you can do that in many ways. You can have it be a rotating list of who is DM and not be set to just one person, because honestly, DMs also want to play the game. Some really enjoy just being the lifetime DM, but others, you know, like I like to DM every once in a while and I like to like play the game as well. So that's what I would say. Find a group. Actually, I think this harkens back to the question about finding friends. Go check out your local queer center, like your local queer community, and see who there is willing to play some D&D, because then I feel like that would be a great way for you to also feel comfortable being able to dress how you want to dress and also use a voice and practice your vocal training and try different pitches and try different things and see how that works out. So I don't know if that all makes sense and if that's all helpful, but yeah, I think that's my advice. I guess for my question, it would be, does your model have a full body yet, or is it only the shown in videos kind of from the hips up? Kind of a similar question of, can you perhaps show us your full VTuber model? I know you have the coffee mug and the game controller, but what else do you have? If anything, are you able to hold nothing at all? No. The answer is no. I don't have legs. I'm sorry. I hate to disappoint, but like, whoop. This is all I am at the moment, but that's all. That's mostly just because that's how I could afford it, and I thought it would be better to just get this much of the model, because there's no reason for me to get a full model when this is all you're going to see. This is all you're going to see. If I were to do streams, this is all you see. You just see me either holding this mug or you see me holding this controller, depending on what I'm doing, whether it's me playing games or me just chatting. I like chatting with just having coffee. But outside of that, the other things that I have are just toggles of various emotions, such as being happy, being angry, maybe being scared or worried about something that's going on, or maybe I'm just a little shy because everything that chat is doing is just a whole lot and it's but yeah, that's all I really have. So and I really enjoy like the amount of freedom that I have with VTubing. It's a lot of fun. Maybe one day I will be a 3D model and I can actually pick things up, but as we stand right now, I'm just a 2D model who can only hold whatever it is that I have. That's why in my previous video r/ace, if you haven't watched it fully, you should go watch it fully, because I tell you something that I can't do, and I wish that I could, but unfortunately I can't because limitations. So yeah. How does the jiggle physics on your coffee work? Well, actually, so the very interesting thing about this, and this is something that I could go into, but I'm going to kind of give like brief overview of how it's all done, because there are a bunch of videos that go way more in depth on this. And it's the simple answer is it's rigged that way. There is rigging in Live 2D to stretch and deform the coffee that's inside the mug to move and jiggle whenever I am moving. So that is like the very like brief answer that I can give that makes most sense, and it's also done specifically to be a little bit more dramatized, because like this is something that you learn like in theater. Whenever you are doing a performance, you overdo it on stage because then it seems more realistic, which sounds kind of counterintuitive, but like when you go and rewatch it, because like when you try to act normal, normal levels of like having expressions and everything. They don't really show up on stage that well, so you have to like really be like dramatic with your face and everything. So fun fact, if you ever meet me in person, one of the things that some people have noted is that I have a very expressive face, and that's why. I did stage theater all throughout my high school, and I did an acting class in uni, but I didn't do anything on stage. So yeah, that's why I also really love VTubing, because I am like puppeting this model, but with my face and like my emotions as well, which is kind of like, it's fun. It's a workout, but it's a good workout that I really enjoy doing. How did you come up with your name? Can be interpreted as your username, real name, or both. Okay, so I'll talk about both. I think the easiest one to be that I can like talk about is the name that I have chosen for myself, my personal real name. I haven't really told anybody what my real name is outside of like a few friends. My real name is derived from a name that my mom wanted to originally call me. I've done the trans thing of asking your parent what they would have called you if you were born as the opposite gender. And my mom told me what she would have named me, and I was just like, no, I don't like that name. I mean, parts of that name I like, but ooh, that completely, because my mom wanted to name me after a pretty big historical figure who, you know, I kind of would have liked, but I'm kind of good on it. So in honor of my mother, who likes having her kids named a unique name, I took the name that she originally was going to call me, took a small portion of it, and then I found a way to pronounce it in a way that I preferred. And then with the spelling to match with it. Then I came up with my middle name, which is an Irish name, and the last part is T. That one is Terra, because I name all of my characters Terra whenever I play like some kind of RPG game, whether it be like Dragon Age or Mass Effect, whatever it may be. I always named my characters Terra. So that is how the name Cat came around for me. It is the first letter of my chosen first name, the first letter of my chosen middle name, and the name of the characters that I usually play whenever it comes to RPGs. Now then, how did I get Cafe Foxtail? Well, it all started whenever I was trying to find a name to rebrand to. I was trying to find a way to rebrand myself as a whole, because Shabby Lobster doesn't really hit the same. It's just a gamer tag, and I wanted something that would be like more like indicative of this channel, who I was, what I'm doing, and all that stuff. And so I was sitting with my wife and we were talking. I was like, well, I want something kind of cafe themed, and also like with the model change that I'm doing, I'm gonna be a fox. So we were like Cafe Fox, Fox Cafe, something like kind of like playing around with things. And finally my wife was just like, you know, I kind of really like the tail that you've got, because like it's so bushy, and the way that it flicks around, it's so good. What if you were Cafe Foxtail or Foxtail Cafe? I was just like, wait, better. What if I'm Cafe Foxtail, but instead of tail is Tail, it's Tale. It's like I'm telling stories, because that's mostly what I do, is I talk about my day, I tell stories, and I keep people entertained. And my wife was just like, that's a good one. I love that. And so that's how Cafe Foxtail came around. Sorry if you answered this on your channel before, but how did you transition socially? Like, did you just tell everyone you know, or did you just wait for other people to notice? This is kind of where I'm stuck at the moment and have no idea how to start. Great question. I haven't really answered this question here on this channel per se, but I have answered this question a few times in the past, and I'm always happy to answer it. I came out slowly over time. First, it was to my wife and a friend of mine who is also trans. In fact, she was the one who I held a conversation with to learn more about being trans, and we ended up having a conversation. I can save all that stuff for another video of like me coming out. But from there, I slowly expanded my circle to closer friends that I trusted and knew would be supportive, and told my parents that there were a lot of things that I was questioning at the moment that I wasn't really honestly sure about. And I'm just lucky that even for my parents being from a small town in Missouri, they're very accepting, even with some like homophobic and racist views sometimes. They're still accepting. And after that, I came out to immediate family and more friends before I finally came out fully. So it was, for me, it was a wave of coming outs that took over the course of 5 months roughly. And in that time, I was figuring out who I was and seeing what I liked and what I didn't like and how I wanted to present. I didn't even start HRT until a month before I fully came out. And that was part of my coming out message. Was I've been on this med for a month now, and honestly, I'm so happy that I did. How do you try to soften the blow to parents when you come out? And have you had experiences with relatives who are transphobic while out to them or not? And do you have any advice for swaying people like them? Ooh, not directly, but I have seen some of the transphobic things that one of my aunts has said, and my mom has mentioned to me that one of my grandmothers has tried skirting around calling me by my chosen name by finally deciding it was okay to use my old nickname. And honestly, I don't try swaying them, and trying to sway somebody isn't going to be easy, nor is it going to be something that you could just do. And to me, specifically, I don't feel like it's worth my time. I don't feel like it's worth my time or my energy, because changing somebody's mind that isn't ready to learn or is coming from a place with honest intentions to actually learn is extremely difficult. There are a lot of like books and classes, and it's even studied on like how to break like a cult mentality. And I feel like a lot of this transphobia stems from cult mentality and like trying to break somebody's belief that they hold dear to themselves is extremely hard and difficult to do. And it is possible. I do want to say that it is possible. And one of the ways that it is possible through is just by being yourself, and also being open and willing to have a conversation and still being friendly to those people. It's not easy, but it works. And I think right now, with everything that's going on, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard. But if you want any proof and that it just being yourself works, I want you to know one of my uncles who was pretty transphobic and very much men should be men and women should be women. When I went down to Arkansas to see his wife who was dying of breast cancer, he came to me and genuinely said, I wasn't sure about you transitioning. In fact, I thought it was completely wrong for you to do. But now that I see you and I see how happy you are, and I see how much you're smiling, how much you're talking, and the fact that you feel comfortable in your own skin, I see how much transitioning helps people. I was so wrong, and I'm so happy that you've taken this road. That's all it took. It took me just being happy, showing that I was finally myself and that I was a person, for him to finally realize that transitioning's not that bad. You gotta find something. And another thing I will say, I will put the top comment, I will pin this comment, but there is a very good other way to do this as well that was said by a trans man whenever I did a podcast with my good friend Minty, and The Last Seahorse and Drago were on there. And Drago, he talks about his experiences coming out as a trans man in a religious setting. And I think his words are far more impactful than mine. Again, link is going to be top comment, timestamp, and everything. So that way you can get the answer that I think probably works a lot better. Also, you should go follow Drago. He's absolutely amazing. And oh my God, his VOs are so good. You should also go follow Seahorse. Subtle plugs here. Totally not subtle plugs here, but Seahorse makes some great music and is a fantastic DJ over on Twitch. Links to their socials are also going to be below. How long have you been on HRT? And if you got a single chance to go back into the past before you transition, would you? I've been on HRT for 3 years now. And would I go back to the past before I transition and give the chance? Yeah, I would tell my younger self that 1, she's a fucking girl, and 2, that she's going to make it and that she's going to be okay. Because I know she had a lot of self-doubts and a lot of worries and was really scared about things. And I think just giving her a little bit of reassurance would have helped. Would have made life a lot easier for me. When you came out, did that make things awkward with any male friends you had? I have all male friends who are very supportive of trans people. A few are trans even. But I'm concerned that coming out will make things uncomfortable if I'm even trans. Still figuring that out. No, not really. I mean, they were really chill about it and nothing really changed between us. One did say, proud of you, man, right after I came out to them. And then he immediately recognized his mistake and apologized, which honestly gave me a good chuckle. But yeah, nothing's really changed between us. My question is, what steps can you take while waiting on HRT appointments to feel like you're still progressing? Practice and experiment. Get started on practicing your vocal training, doing your own makeup, trying various styles, and see what works for you. Maybe you're like me and your style doesn't change much, but you might be someone who is either going to be someone that's going to be like hyper femme, hyper mask, or maybe extremely androgynous. Whatever your style may be, you know, this is a good time to start. And to see the differences over time, the best thing you can do is start taking pictures, start taking selfies, start recording your voice and listening to the differences. Recording your voice and listening to the differences is extremely helpful for various things. It can help you with hearing the differences in your voice while also being able to see the progress that you've made between now and the past month or so, and also kind of tells you like where you need to work on. And taking pictures, it makes it so much easier because like you're not going to notice the progress that you make on a day-to-day basis or even on a weekly basis, but when you look at a month-to-month basis, you can really see the difference and how your style and how much better you have gotten at it. So yeah, start recording stuff. It helps a lot, and you'll notice that like the amount of change that you have gone through is there. You're making a lot of progress and you're doing really well. So I've gotten a few questions like this before. How did your voice do that? Do I have any tips for vocal training and exercises? And how much training have I done for my own vocal training? And the answers are to kind of more focus on the voice training aspects. Is I haven't done a whole lot of training. I did some training at the start of my transition when I would go and follow what Trans Voice Lesson had of doing Heat from Fire, Fire from Heat. Hi, hello, how are you all doing today? And the thing that kind of really there that I struggle with most is like raising my larynx. And the thing that I did focus on the most was my resonance. And to answer the question of how do I do that? How do I make my voice be a little bit more breathy and airy and add that weight, is that I use my diaphragm more whenever I'm pushing air out. So you're not trying to like push out a lot of air all at once. You're more or less just trying to like push some air out to add a little bit of darker tones to your voice while also adding some weight. And that is how you do this voice. So yeah, that's kind of basically how I do my voice, especially like the ASMR voice, which I know quite a few have been wondering and asking about. When it comes to like vocal training and vocal tips, I strongly suggest that you check out Trans Voice Lessons as well as Fairy Princess Lucy. She has a lot of great tips. They both have a lot of great tips. You can also go and search on TikTok for Trans Voice Lessons. There are a lot of resources on there as well. I know Naya and Yuko have tips both there on TikTok and here on YouTube. So there are resources. I'm not super great at like giving tips for vocal training because I am not a vocal expert, nor do I actually practice vocal training all that much. But those are the resources that I strongly suggest checking out. Those are the people I suggest checking out, and I will have links to their stuff in the description as well as a top comment as well. So yeah. What are some things that every trans woman should have or know? Okay, so I'm stealing this from Jessie on TikTok, but it's super helpful to have this. It looks like a lipstick container, but it's actually a lip shaver. And this device is so useful, and I've had to like tell a couple of my friends to actually get this because if there's ever a day where you feel like you have missed shaving a little bit because some of us still, not all of us are able to get laser hair removal. This works so well. Oh my God, this is so good, and could not strongly suggest having this more than anything else. So tip 1, have this. Tip 2, always carry tampons. Always carry tampons for all my trans femmes out there. You never know who's going to need them. It's always good to have some on hand. And then finally, I think this is a bit of advice that a lot of us need to hear. Your femininity is not defined by others. Your womanhood is not defined by others. You define your own femininity and your own womanhood. People are always going to move the goalpost, and they are always going to come up with some reason to invalidate you. Don't let them. You are gorgeous, you are beautiful, and you are amazing. These words also apply to my trans mask. You're the one who defines your own masculinity and your own manhood. No one can change that or take it from you. All right? To all my queens and kings out there, you're absolutely killing it. Also, to all my little cryptids out there, you're killing it as well. Keep it up. How do you muster up the courage to correct misgendering? Ooh, that's a good question. And I know some people have answered this before, and it's different for everybody. I'm at the point now to where I've stopped caring, and I either shrug it off and move on with my life, or effectively just say she or her without really thinking. And it depends on like context, like who I'm around and who I'm hanging out with and all that stuff. Most of the time when I'm not caring, it's around strangers. And I have learned that most strangers don't really know or care most of the time. They see somebody, they refer to them as who they think they are, and then they just move on with their life, not even like thinking twice about it. The only time like I had people apologize to me about it was when I was working at a grocery store and I had my pronouns on my name tag, and they would see my name tag and be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And I'm like, "No, it's fine, it's fine. You, 1, recognized your mistake, and 2, you corrected it. Thank you for doing that." The only time I actually correct people are like friends and family. And nowadays it's mostly I'm correcting family just because like I have gen silent grandparents who I can barely hear half that's being said. So like, yeah, I correct them. And I think that mostly just comes from like with my family, it's mostly like we are always very like open with each other and not afraid to call each other out. My grandmother has been, and I'll get into this. Maybe this will be something that I could talk about in my coming out video of like me figuring out that I was trans. But one thing is like my grandmother has always tried to like get all of our family members to like stay connected and like love each other. And over the time, she has realized that that's not the case with one of my aunts specifically because that's a whole story and something that I can talk about later for sure. All right, I have 3 questions. 1, do you like Kamen Rider? I have no idea who that is. 2, who's your wife and why do you bring her up in videos a lot? Don't have to answer this too personal. It's not too personal in all honesty. Who is my wife? She's the person that I married to. The Nuclear Tea over on Twitch. And I talk about her a lot because I'm a simp. I simp for my wife. I mean, that's pretty much just it. It's just like, yeah, I love my wife. She's amazing and fantastic and been a huge support in my life. So without her, like, I wouldn't be able to like be myself. She was the first person who actually made me feel comfortable enough to actually come out as trans even before we got married. So yeah. And then 3, will you post a video on how you found out you were trans and your experience like Azul Crescent and Yuko? All right. So I've had this question a few times and I think it's probably best that I answer this in its own video. I don't think I can do justice to this question in a Q&A and give it the time that it needs. So expect this to be in a future video along with a future video because a few people have asked me this as well about whether or not transitioning is right for you. 2 new videos will be coming out at some point in time in the near future. I'll do them some justice by making sure that I give them a proper script and actually writing them out because I've answered these questions on multiple occasions either in a stream or on another YouTube video and most of that was kind of all off script and through my own memory and just trying to like remember things and you know I miss things every once in a while. So I'll write proper scripts for these and I'll give these the time that they deserve and that they need. But with that all said, I want to thank every single last one of you for making it to the end of this video, along with a huge shout out to all my patrons and my Twitch subscribers. Y'all have been keeping me afloat during these times and making sure that things keep going for both this channel here on YouTube and over on Twitch as well. Y'all have been so generous and kind to me and I just don't know what to say other than thank you. I feel like I owe you content so much and I always want to make sure that I provide the best videos and provide a comfy space for you all. And also, if you didn't see your question here today, that's okay because I'm going to end up using it in a future video. So do not worry and do not fret. I have all your questions saved and I will be sure to answer them in a future video. With that all said, I also want to thank every single one of you who has made art or who has tagged me in a post because it always brings me a smile seeing what you all can do and what you all find and what you all want to share. And lastly, something that I want you all to know, you are valid the way that you are. You are not going to be defined by others around you. No one out there can do that. I know things look hard and I know things look bleak. However, we have community and we have people out there who are going to fight for us, both inside and outside the community. We need to work together with everybody to make sure that we get through this time because we will get through this time. I understand not everyone can or wants to fight. And all I have to say is just be sure to take care of yourself, take care of those around you, take care of friends and family, and take care of your neighbors. Do not let them split us up. Division is what makes us weak, and we are not weak. This community has stood together through rough times, and we will continue standing together. Y'all have done an amazing job, and I look forward to seeing a day where I can see every single last one of you smiling and laughing and thriving. Keep existing, because that is our greatest form of protest and our greatest form of resistance, okay? Okay. Now then, I'll see you around the cafe. How does a jizzle? Oh my god. Jesus Christ. How does a jiggle physics? Jiggle physics? Oh my god! How the f do you say that?